welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's your host Gary and Iain, and of course today we're joined by Hannah to discuss Kathryn Bigelow's Near Dark. Now, this is a vampire film without them even using the word vampire. This film also came out near enough the same time that The Lost Boys came out, and as a result of Lost Boys' international success, Near Dark pretty much disappeared under the radar, to the point where the film stock almost didn't exist anymore, and nobody would eventually see the film again. But the film's been released on DVD and again re-released on Blu-ray, and today we're going to talk about what makes Near Dark almost the best vampire film in cinematic history. Iain, why don't you give us the rundown for Near Dark?
Well, the story for the film is we follow Adrian Pasdar, who plays Caleb, and he comes across a young, quite good-looking girl one night called May, and he kind of takes her out on a date and forces her to give him a kiss, but she bites him instead and infects him with, well, what we don't know as the vampire disease. He then gets picked up by her family, played by Lance Henriksen, Jeanette Goldstein and Bill Paxton, and they go on a road trip of death and destruction across the state.
This vampire family is almost like a biker gang in terms of their appearance, the long hair, the blackened long nails. They're very rugged, and it looks like they've been alive for several generations. You get that, that sense that they are very, very experienced and very well crafted their killing techniques.
Just a bit.
I don't fully like the love story that goes with this film. I mean, Caleb's character and May's character are your main stars, and you follow them through developing this strange relationship as he turns slowly, but he doesn't want to lose his humanity through killing people, so he forces May to make the kills so then he can drink from her. And I'm just like, suck it up, man. Look how much fun Bill Paxton is having, just kicking ass. Lance Henriksen he just looks so evil in this. He's got years behind his eyes. I mean, from watching the film, you learn that obviously they can get hurt, but they heal very quickly. But Lance Henriksen's got this big, massive scar on his face, and I look at it and I'm like, you've got a story behind that scar that you're not telling.
Jesse, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Yeah, what might that be?
How old are you?
Let's put it this way. I fought for the South.
South?
We lost.
See, Jeanette Goldstein as Diamondback. Oh.
There's a fly on the ceiling.
I remember seeing the advert for this film on Channel 4 years ago when I was younger, and what caught me was that scene where they walk up onto the hill and you just see their blackened silhouettes and the lights behind them, and I was like, ooh, what's this? And then I watched the film and I see her, and she looks. Now, if you don't know who Jeanette Goldstein is, she played Vasquez in Alien.
Let's rock!
But in Near Dark, she's this mother figure.
Homer, you look at me when I'm talking to you now.
She's looking out for all of them, and her and Jesse have this relationship going, which really just works. And I think mainly because obviously they just come off of Aliens working together and have come into this film. And then you have Bill Paxton.
Howdy. I'm gonna separate your head from your shoulders.
He's amazing in this film. He just does whatever the hell he wants. He doesn't care. Like that scene when they go into the bar and he just starts knocking these big, massive biker guys' drinks over. He doesn't give a monkey's about what anyone's
he knows
do.
what he can do.
He knows exactly what he can do, and he's really kind of rugged and gritty. He's kind of like this. It's very similar to, reminds me a bit of Seth in Dusk Till Dawn. He's got that kind of edgy, gritty, similar to the Lost Boys in the fact that he's wearing the leather and everything.
Oh, bartender, that'll be a double shot of your very best watered down shit right here.
But he's just psychotic, would you say, almost?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah,
See,
I'd say.
I've seen this film a lot, and I like to think of their backstories, even though you don't get told. And
Yeah.
Severin, I see him as like a cowboy who'd come across Jesse on the wrong night. You know, they've had a gunfight. He's lost because Jesse's not going to die, and then Jesse's turned him and obviously taught him everything that he knows. And Severin has just over the years just gotten more and more insane. There's that one scene where he stood on the side of the road and he looks all clean. He's got the clean shirt, clean trousers. He just puts his thumb out and he gets in the van with the two girls, and I'm like, you're both dead.
Don't.
Joshua Miller though as Homer. See, now that's where I feel the backstories really come about, because he is a lot older than what he sounds and what he looks like, and he just walks up and he grabs Caleb by the nuts.
That's Homer. Mispronounce it, and I wouldn't want to be you.
So I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, the years of experience behind Homer. It's the like a traditional vampire rule that it's a crime to turn someone so young.
Yeah.
But again, you don't know, the origin story of him being turned. You only get a hint of how perhaps Jeanette Goldstein's vampire was turned because they mention it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
all of the others, you don't have a clue how they became together, how they became a family unit.
Yeah.
But you do know that they've been together for quite a long time, because the interplay between them all is so sharp and so well executed. And I think for a lot of it as well, it was also improvised from the actors, because they kind of felt their parts. And the making of it went on to say that they'd devised how they became the vampire, how they became a unit.
Yeah.
So they did a lot of work on their characters beforehand.
See, we keep using the V word. They're not.
They don't even use it once in the film. They're not even once is the word mentioned. And it's the same with the mythology. The only thing they really stick to is the sunlight, I think, pretty much. Because there's no... Unlike films like The Lost Boys, there's no garlic, there's no holy water, there's no stake through the heart. I mean, they get shot and they just kind of spit the bullets back out again. There's nothing apart from the daylight.
It's not a traditional vampire film in that sense. They removed all of the gothic overtones of what makes a vampire movie and just kept it simple. It's like there's so much vampire lore now in contemporary audience minds that you don't need to remind them of crucifixes and holy water and garlic. Just having the fact that they are immediately allergic to the sun. They even play on the idea that it is an actual medical phenomenon. Certain people they can't ever go out in the sun. So it's kind of like that kind of disease extended.
Yeah.
But they have the fact that they will live forever, and you have that very sad moment early on in the film where May is talking about the stars and how the sun's burnt out, and the fact that she will, always be here when all of the stars go out of the sky, and it's like a curse. And she's the only one who you get a sense of the fact that she doesn't really enjoy her life as a vampire. And so that relationship with Caleb, where he's not making his first kill, very similar to Michael from The Lost Boys, where he's trying, getting ready psychologically to do it. But the film keeps cutting back to the cornbread farm, the father and the daughter trying to find their boy, and all of those scenes juxtaposed with the actual vampire parts of the movie that just keep moving, having adrenaline and tension. The bits that cut back to the farm for me really detracted from the energy that was building up with the main cast. So that's one part of the film that perhaps I would fault. Yeah,
for fans of this film, this film does have a massive cult following. For the first time I watched it, I kind of had the suspicion that she was a vampire, mainly because of her fear at the beginning that the sun was coming up. But if you're watching this for the first time, you have no idea probably until they make their first few kills. But even then, you don't even know really what they're doing. They're just biting people, And it might seem a bit scary for somebody to be like, well, it's not your typical vampire film, but it's a brilliant vampire film. It's a brilliant Western vampire film, because even though it does fall back to the family, when you do go back to the family and the sunlight is up, that's when you think they're sleeping at this moment, and they sleep in such stupid places. They'll find a hotel room and just sleep in the bath and sleep on top of dashboards of their RVs. I do particularly like the way that they quickly get the cars ready while the sun's coming. They're spraying out the window and sticking the tin foil up. It's an amazing film, but I hate the science behind it, because I'm gonna slightly spoil it now. As the film progresses, Caleb isn't making his kills. The the rest of the vampires are getting peed off with him because, you know, this is what you do to survive at night. You know, you kill somebody, you drink their blood. And he's feeding off of May, and obviously they think that that's just disgusting. Yeah. But then he returns back to his family, and his dad takes the blood out through transfusion and pretty much gets rid of the virus. And I'm like, really? Because later on, he does manage to do that to May, and I think, well, hold on a minute, shouldn't this be about humanity? She's made like how many kills? Yeah. And the whole time she's been a vampire, and you just got rid of transfusion. You should have told Jesse that. You should have said, "Oh, I can heal you," you know, or you can leave us alone.
See, I just saw that as, I think it was just a way for them to advance the story. I thought when I watched it, because I've only seen it just recently, I thought when I watched it, there's going to be a lot of people that are very kind of annoyed about the fact they give him a transfusion because it doesn't fit with the whole vampire thing. I've never seen it done before, of course, until Daybreakers. They tried that in Daybreakers.
Yeah.
And it worked, you know, it cured him of his vampirism. I think for me, that was just a point to advance. I didn't read into it too much, I just saw it for what it was, and it's a way to advance the story to the end. So for that reason, it didn't really annoy me, but I can see how it would annoy a hardcore fan.
You know, I know the love story is the main point of the film, but as a fan of the film, I enjoy the family more. You know, I want to see a prequel with Severin and Jesse meeting up. I want them to see them come across Diamondback. Oh, it's just
have a crush.
The white hair and the trousers that she's wearing, and the way she just stands there with a knife, and she just looks so hard. I'm just like, oh, I could marry that one.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man?
No. Have you?
Oh, that's good. You're just too bad.
See, I quite liked her, but she's quite a strong female character. I like her for that. But the scene in the bar as well, when he says just bring me a glass, and the smile, the secret knowing smile she has, and she's got this way of looking in the film, this smirk, as if to say, I know what's going to happen now, and no one else does.
Don't you want a beer?
No, honey, the drink's on me.
For me, the ultimate scene of the film was that bar scene.
Yes.
It was that silhouette shot as they are all approaching it, the light behind them.
Yeah.
And you see them all there, and then you see them move down, the way they come into the bar, the way they almost instantly take the place over without even saying a word. Bill Paxton comes up to the bar, they intimidate the barman, they intimidate the guy sat next there, the timid guy who's back there with the snooker cue.
Yeah.
The scene itself is more than 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
But it's tense. The whole duration of the scene is just tense, and it just escalates and builds up.
This is a kick, ain't it?
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! My life!
Favourite scene, Iain?
See, there are quite a few, but I think I'm gonna go with the first scene with Bill Paxton when they've grabbed Caleb off the field. He stumbled across this field and he looks like he is about to burst into flames. And they pulled him into the RV, and Bill Paxton is just holding him down with his boot and just says, you know,
Let me tap dance on it, won't you? It'll be so good.
Do it fast.
All right.
Good times roll.
and I'm like, I don't know about you, but I'm scared shitless. You know, that is my favourite scene.
Alright, favourite scene, Hannah?
Besides the bar scene, which is a really, really cool scene, I quite like the scene where Homer meets Sarah, Caleb's little sister, and you kind of get a sense that Homer, though he says himself, doesn't he? He says, I'm a big man in a little man's body.
Yeah.
And you see Sarah, Caleb's sister, and just going inside, God, no, please leave her alone, just walk away. And then obviously there's that confrontation. He takes Sarah back to the hotel room,
yeah.
and they want to watch some TV. It's really cute. You think, oh, that's sweet, and you're forgetting who he is. You forget that he's like a couple 100-year-old vampire, and they're sat there innocently watching the TV. The rest of the family are there, and you think this is not going to end well.
Round and round and round she goes. And where she stops, nobody knows. It's about time for that big old wheel to stop rotating.
tension for me in that scene, I was just like, oh, please, just let the girl go, because she's such a sweet little girl, isn't she? Because Homer, for me, I think Homer is such a creepy character. And that scene, seeing him with a little girl, knowing he's an adult man in there, really, it just reeks of, like, nastiness. You want her out of there, and it's a really tense scene, but at the same time interesting. The dynamics of it are really interesting, how he's going to react when he sees his father, how his father's going to react. And he says, bullets don't do no good against them, Dad.
What do you mean ain't gonna do no good?
I listen to you, son.
I'd stop right there if I was you, mister.
Not likely. For you.
Like, oh, what's going to happen? The tension's rife in that scene. It's great.
Yeah, I think my favourite scene, again, other than the bar scene, and the scenes with Bill Paxton, especially when he's kissing the truck when he's driving towards him.
Oh.
The finger-licking good line.
It's finger licking good. Hey, Jess, I got smell like a dead polecat.
Or I hate them when they haven't been shaved. It's just pure genius in script and in delivery. But I think perhaps one of my favourite scenes is when Jesse is gone into the motel and he's ringing the bell, and the guy's like, "Hey, mister, you come this way before?"
Yes, I get through here about once every 50 years. Make me a reservation.
See, I was watching that scene and I totally forgot about. Jesse just looks so tough. We see the scene where he sat in the car with Diamondback and they're just about to kill those two guys with guns on them. Yeah. But when he stood in that reception and you're watching the sun come across the counter and he just really just wants the key. He wants to get inside the motel. He wants to set up, and it's the fear on his face.
Yeah.
See, these vampires are just so tough. It's not like other films like Twilight and even Lost Boys.
We're not going to get to Twilight.
Other vampire films where they've got more weaknesses and things. Even these vampires are just so tough. But Sunlight, they're all terrified. You can see even hardcore like Bill Paxton, Saffron. He absolutely flips when he thinks it's going to be sunlight's coming soon.
Fucking daylight!
All of them, their darkened out truck and everything is set up perfectly just so that there's this one thing. They haven't got garlic and crosses and things, but this one thing terrifies them enough to give them some kind of weakness, which I think is what makes it more realistic in a way.
Yeah.
If vampires did really exist, that's what they'd be like, I reckon. Travelling out in the desert at night, getting truckers off the roads, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Not kind of sparkling and living in Forks in Washington. Maybe not even living in Santa Monica, maybe, I think this is what real life vampires would most likely be like, which just adds another dimension of kind of scary. What if it's real? Part of you during this film goes, what if they are? What if people living out in the West? What if these cowboys, they're just shooting themselves in the sun? That's what's happening. They're real. But it's awesome. It's really awesome. When they built the characters are believable, yet they're vampires. It's great.
Alright. So would you recommend Near Dark, Iain?
Definitely. If you're new to the vampire films, where the fuck have you been? But even if you haven't seen it, and you've seen every other single one, or you haven't seen it in a while, sit back, watch Near Dark. The love story, come and go, but it's the family. It's the main vampire family moving around. They are just the best bit of the film.
Yeah.
So would you recommend Near Dark, Hannah?
I liked it a lot. I did like it a lot, but then I like the fact it's a darker, grittier vampire film. It doesn't quite trump Lost Boys for me, because that's kind of one I remember from that year. Of course, they came out in the same year. I think that there's something to be said for, this is the flip side of the coin to Lost Boys. Lost Boys has got more, this is a much darker humour. I think if you like that dark humour, and you like the fact that there's the family dynamic in it, and there's this, just the grit and the determination of these vampires, I think that if that's your kind of thing, if you like the dark humour, Dusk Till Dawn, if you like Dusk Till Dawn, this is a great one for you, definitely.
Alright, I highly recommend Near Dark. It is perhaps the definitive vampire film. I think Kathryn Bigelow is an outstanding director. There's not that many female directors, and she wrote the script, she pushed to be the director of the film, made it happen. She's had success with Point Break. She's won Oscars with The Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
She's gained experience from James Cameron, and Near Dark is just, I would say that it's quite tonally different in places, because it does go from being a very film noir-esque in terms of its stylistics.
Yes, yeah, it does.
There's some outstanding silhouette shots, especially with Caleb on the horse going through the city. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very quiet, and you've got the synthesizer music that's just building up in the background. But visually and tonally, the film does shift and swap around quite frequently, from being that sort of tone to being back on the family farm to then being in that club. So if you can get past those tonal shifts and changes, stick with the family of vampires, I think and if you've never seen this film before, you are in for a real ride.
Fasten your fucking seatbelt!
Just watch Near Dark and pray for daylight. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
It's finger licking good.